Now in our final video, I'm going to show you how to paint a tree similar to the previous tree that we did, but we're going to just add in a little more detail in this case and just some different forms of lighting, a little bit of rim lighting, a darker shadow at the bottom, and just a few more detail. Now let's select a nice rich green color and start painting in a oval shape. We're going to paint a tree similar to the first one that we did in terms of the starting up process of painting. And let's just start adding in a harder edge at the bottom. And now with a much darker color on a new layer, I'm going to paint in a disc-like shape at the bottom. This is the bottom of our tree. Now with a nice rich brown color, let's paint in our tree trunk. This tree is very similar to like a simple birch tree or like an orchard tree, but again with a much more stylized feel to it. And then on a new layer, selecting a lighter brown, let's add in a little bit of highlight. Now on a new layer, holding down Command or Control on your keyboard, let's select the foliage leaf part of our tree, and with a lighter color on a new layer, let's paint in our highlight. I'm also going to erase it out a little on the top, and also want to lower the opacity a bit. Now selecting a nice big brush, let's start adding in some more shadow to our tree, and make sure that you're in a new layer. And I think right now my dual brush is a little big, so I want to shorten that up a little and just start making these strokes around, contouring to the shape of the tree. I'm going to lower the opacity so that it's not too dramatic, and then again selecting the same brush that we made in our previous video, making sure your dual brush is on. On a new layer, let's start adding in some darker shadows to our tree. I'm just kind of scattering them around, away from the light. The light will be kind of coming in from the top left, and I want to make sure that my shadow is kind of going to be on the bottom right in this case. I haven't adjusted the angle on my shape dynamics, because I don't want the leaves to be too scattered. I want them to be facing, in a similar downward position. I'm selecting a green not much lighter than my base that I already have, and I'm just loosely painting it around. And again, make sure that this is on a new layer. And now I'm going to select a lighter green and start adding in my highlight. Let's hide the gray background for now. And yeah, just start loosely scattering it on the top left part. This is where the sunlight will be hitting. I'm just loosely placing it on the top of my neutral green leaves. And again, the scatter and the angle brush aren't too fierce. I'm just very lightly painting one leaf at a time, not adding in, too much definition like we did for the previous tree. I'm going to select a nice big round brush, and on a new layer, making sure my multiply is on, I'm just going to lightly add some strokes, because right now, as I've layered on the leaves, everything feels a little disconnected. I want there to be a smoother gradient that blends everything together. So I'm just going to do these very big strokes, and just lower the opacity a bit, and this really brings the tree together because now the shadows all blend in. Now, just as we did with our shadow, we shall do with the highlight. You can hold the Alt button on your keyboard to color select any colors around you. In this case, I color selected the white background itself, and making sure that my layer is on overlay, I'm lightly painting around my tree. Just look how this just brought the entire tree together. With the blue color, I'm just adding in a little rim light to the bottom shadow. A little more up on this side as well. And now that I've done, I'm going to switch the gray background on again. Yeah, it looks pretty good so far, even with the neutral gray background. And now on a new layer, I'm going to start adding in a little more definition to the bottom of the tree. Again, with a medium round brush, I'm just going to smooth out this part so it doesn't seem a little too obvious. Now on a new layer, I'm just going to start adding in some more leaves there, just to fill up that space so it doesn't have a very sharp black outline. When you have the gray background on, you can really see that blue reflective light on the right side. Now it's just a matter of being a layering process. I'm going to keep adjusting my brush and then just lightly adding a leaf at a time, and just going in there and adding that detail. It really breaks up the monotony and the dark big shapes that you see. add in a few lighter leaves around the middle just to break up that silhouette, and then I'm gonna add in some neutral greens on the left side again to break up that very, chaotic haphazard way that we have the leaves. We want to create and make sure that there's a pattern to it, that everything makes sense. And now on a new layer, I'm just going to hide the gray background again. I'm going to start adding in a few more leaves. Now let's add a lot more leaves up here, just so that it doesn't feel too, just too planned. We wanted to still maintain that full foliage feel. The blue, let's do the same on the right side as well as the bottom of the tree. This just really kind of, creates that nice realistic look that we were going for. And that's it, we're done. Once you've finally, gotten your tree to a place that you're happy with, you can always go in there and add some more detail. But for now, we're just going to keep everything with a nice loose painterly feel to it. I, don't want to add in too much detail because, again, this is quick concepts and game assets. It's strictly for the idea process and to create nice loose shapes and silhouettes when thinking of how to approach, painting your tree. Now let's also, make our other trees visible, and let's put them all together. And now in the next video, I'm just going to show you how to create a little bit of foliage at the bottom of your tree. Right now our tree trunks are very bare and stark. What would take your trees up just a, another level would be to add the little bit of, grass that's usually found at the bottom of a tree. And that is what we will focus on in our next and final video.